Hi friends, in this video I'm going to discuss some of the biology questions appeared in the SSLC board examination March 2020. You know children, around 34 marks occurred from biology part in the science subject. Around 34 marks are from biology part children. Shall we discuss? The first question is, in the given figure of cotyledon, the parts labeled as A and B respectively are. So you have a figure here children. So this is a cotyledon. So first thing is, what is a cotyledon children? You can see a cotyledon. So what is a cotyledon? A cotyledon is the seed leaf inside the embryo of a seed. It is the seed leaf inside the embryo of a seed. And if you see the cotyledon, you can see plumule and radicle. So plumule will develop into embryonic shoot or primary shoot, and the radicle will develop into embryonic root or primary root children. So whatever it is, here a diagram is given. This is a cotyledon. You have A and B. You have to name what are this A and B. So you have four options children: fruit, shoot, primary shoot, primary root, secondary root, primary root, shoot, and you have bud and leaf. So what is the correct option children? I told you, see, this A part is called plumule, which develops into primary shoot, and B part is called as radicle, which develops into primary root. So your correct option is primary root, shoot and primary root children. The correct option is B, primary shoot and primary root. You have to write that children, primary shoot and primary root. So what is the option? Option B. The second question is, the incorrect statement related to thyroxine hormone among the following is. So it is the, here four options are given children. It is thyroxine hormone. It is a personality hormone. It is secreted by the gland called thyroid gland, and this gland is situated in the neck region. So this thyroid gland secretes a hormone called thyroxine. So here the statement is incorrect statement related to thyroxine. You have to identify children. It regulates fat metabolism. It is true children. Thyroxine helps in regulating metabolism of the body. Its deficiency leads to goiter. This is also true. It is secreted by parathyroid hormone. This is false children. Thyroxine is secreted by thyroid gland. Iodine in the food is essential for its production. This is also true children. So what is the correct option? Yes children, it is the C option. It is secreted by parathyroid gland. Option C, you have to write secreted by parathyroid gland. The third question is children, the rate of breathing in aquatic organisms is much faster than that seen in terrestrial organisms. Why? So they are asking you to compare aquatic organisms and terrestrial organisms. So the answer is, the rate of breathing in aquatic organ is much faster. Why? The answer is because aquatic animals take the dissolved oxygen present in the water. Take the dissolved oxygen present in the water with the help of gills present in the water. So gills are the respiratory organs. Whereas in terrestrial, it is the lungs which helps them to take the oxygen directly present in the atmosphere. Here aquatic animals take the dissolved oxygen present in water, and the amount of dissolved oxygen is very low. Amount of dissolved oxygen is very low. And that's the reason the rate of breathing in aquatic organisms is much faster than that seen in the terrestrial organisms. You have the next question children. The gene for brown colored hair is recessive children. Recessive character. Brown colored hair, recessive means write small b children. That of the gene for black colored. So black color is capital B. Got it children? The brown colored hair is recessive. So recessive is small letter B, and dominant character for that black colored hair is, means that black color is dominant. What is the hair color of a person who has inherited a gene for brown colored hair from mother and a black colored hair from the father? Here, brown colored hair is recessive, children, and this is from the mother. And black colored hair is dominant, and this is from father. So what does the person inherit? The question is. So if you write, so he inherits capital B, small b. So this capital B is the indication of dominant character. So the capital B is the indication for dominant character. So the person inherits black color. You have to write black color. Clear, children? So here, which is dominant? Black color is dominant. Which is recessive? Brown color is recessive. So what does the person inherit from the parents? Black color, because black color is more dominant. Okay, the next question is, children, the body temperature of frogs and lizards depend on temperature in the environment. Why? You all know, children, frogs and lizards, frogs belong to a group of amphibians and lizards belong to the group of reptiles, children. So these organisms depend on temperature in the environment. So they survive because of the environment. They are asking you to justify or give reason. Yes, children. The answer is because they are cold-blooded animals. They are cold. Both amphibians and reptiles are cold-blooded animals. First reason. And the second reason is they have three-chambered heart, children. They have three-chambered heart. This three-chambered heart help in mixing of oxygenated with the deoxygenated blood. Helps in mixing of oxygenated blood with deoxygenated blood. With deoxygenated blood. So that is the reason why they are not able to maintain a constant temperature and depend on the temperature in the environment. You all understood, children? This is the reason why frogs and lizards are not able to maintain a constant temperature. They are not able to maintain a constant temperature. Able to maintain a constant temperature and depend on the temperature in the environment. Clear, children? So this is the answer. You have to give reason. Cold-blooded animals is one reason. They have three-chambered heart, and one more is they are not able to maintain a constant temperature and depend on the temperature in the environment for their survival. We have next question, children. As energy moves progressively through various tropic levels of food chain, it is no longer available to the previous level. Give reasons. They are asking, when you take a food chain, children, here, you can take here producers, like grass you can take. Producers are eaten by first level of consumers. You can take locusts, and locusts are eaten by lizards. Lizards are eaten by frogs. Frogs are eaten by snakes. So you have a tropic level here, children. So here in the food chain, so this is a food chain, and this food chain, the flow of energy is unidirectional. So here the energy is made to move in unidirectional, and the second one is the energy passes to the herbivores. So here producers are consumed by herbivores. So herbivores does not come back to the autotrophs. So here the energy which passes to the herbivores does not come back to the autotrophs. You know, children, autotrophs are nothing but they are producers where they can prepare their own food. Here from herbivores it goes to next tropic level, but it will not come back to the autotrophs of producers. And the next reason you can give is the energy that is captured. The energy that is captured by the autotrophs does not revert back to the sun. The energy that is captured by the producers does not revert or sent back to the sun. Therefore, in the food chain, the energy moves progressively through various tropic levels. You all understood, children? You have to write the flow of energy is unidirectional, first step. Second step is the energy which passes to the herbivores does not come back to the autotrophs. It will not come because it is unidirectional. And the third step is the energy that is captured by the autotrophs. The autotrophs take the energy from the sun. So they capture the energy from the sun, and that does not revert back to the energy that is captured from the sun to the producers will not be sent back to the sun or revert back to the sun. Therefore, in the food chain, the energy moves progressively through various tropic levels, and this energy is no longer available to the previous tropic levels. Thus, the flow of energy in a food chain is unidirectional. You have to remember, children. Now we have one more question, children. Draw the diagram showing the germination of pollen on stigma and label the pollen tube. You have to draw the diagram of germination of pollen on stigma. So for this, first you have to draw the stigma, children, and then you have to draw the ovary. So first you draw the stigma and then give the structure for ovary. Okay, children, and then you have to draw the pollen tube. So the pollen tube will start from here. So you can take the pollen tube and then you have to take it here, and from here you have to draw the internal part, and like this. Inside you have female gametes, nuclei, and this is the pollen tube. This pollen tube you have to draw. Okay, and here you can see the stigma, and this is the pollen tube. So this you have to mention is a pollen tube, and this is called the pollen grain. Pollen grain, and this is the stigma. Pollen grain, stigma, pollen tube, and this is the polar nuclei, and this part is called female gamete. Female gamete. Okay, children. So this is how you have to draw the diagram, children. First draw the stigma and then give the shape for the ovary. Then pollen tube. Actually, in your question, they asked you to label the pollen tube. So you have to label the pollen tube and pollen grain. We have one more question, children. Explain the significant function of each structure in human reproductive system, children. They have not given any diagram, children. To make you understand, I have drawn the diagram here. This is the male reproductive system, children. So you have to explain the main organs and their function, children. Here the first is you have to testes or testicles. This is testes, children. Testes. And the next is penis. Testes, penis. This is scrotum sac. Scrotum sac. Then you have vasa deferens, children. Vas deferens. Then prostate gland. This is prostate gland. Then this is seminal vesicle. We shall learn the function. Seminal vesicle. We shall learn the function of each structure, children, now. So what is the function of penis, children? First is, so this is the male reproductive system, and what is the function of this penis? First is, penis help in delivering the sperms to the site of fertilization, children. The function of penis is for delivering the sperms for fertilization you can write, or it serves as a penetrating device to release semen. It serves as a penetrating device. So the function of this penis is it serves as a penetrating device to release semen, children. So that is the function of this penis. And the next one is testes. So this is the testes, children. Male reproductive system has a pair of testes. The testes play a very important role for production of sperms and hormones like androgens and testosterone, which are responsible for male characters or masculine characters. You all understood, children? So for the production of sperms and for the production of male hormones, that is androgens and testosterone. And the next we have scrotum sac. So scrotum sac also is very important, children. The testes are protected by a skinny layer that is called scrotum. So what is the function of this scrotum is? Scrotum helps to maintain, first thing is regulate temperature necessary for the production of sperms, children. We can see in males, you can see the testes are situated outside the body. The reason is to regulate proper temperature for the production of sperms, and also for protection, and also for movement of the testes. Okay, that is the function of scrotum sac, children. The next, this tube we call it as vasa or vas deferens. So what is the function of this vas deferens? Is this urethra. You have urethra also, children, here. Urethra. So this vas deferens will pass on the sperms from the testes. It carries the sperms to the urethra. So urethra and vas deferens play a very important role in transportation of sperms from testes. Transportation of sperms from testes. So that is the function of both urethra and vas deferens. And then you have prostate gland and seminal vesicle, children. These two helps in secretion. They add secretion to the sperms. Once the testes release the sperms, okay, as the sperms move to the prostate gland, first to the seminal vesicles and to the prostate gland, they add secretion and makes the sperms transport easier and also nourish the sperms by providing nutrients. So that is the function of seminal vesicle and prostate gland. You got it, children? In an exam, in the question paper, no diagram, children, to make you understand. I have drawn the diagram and explain you the function. The next question is explain the structure and important role of placenta during gestation period of women, children. Gestation period is nothing but it is the period fertilization to the complete development of the embryo. That period we call it as gestation period. And during gestation period, during that period, so what is the function of the placenta? What is the function of placenta in women? They are asking, children. So the answer is during pregnancy period, the embryo gets nourishment from the mother's blood with the help of disc-shaped special tissue embedded in the uterine wall, and that is called as placenta. So this from the placenta, the growing embryo gets sufficient nourishment from the mother's blood with the help of a special type of tissue which is embedded in the uterine wall, that is called placenta. And once the embryo is very well attached to the placenta, it contains villi on the developing side of the tissue, children, and this villi provides glucose and oxygen from the mother to the embryo. So it provides glucose and oxygen from the mother to the embryo and also helps in removing the waste generated from the embryo. So that is the function of this placenta, children. So placenta helps in providing nutrition and also helps in passing on the oxygen and important nutrients from the mother to the embryo and also removes the waste from the embryo. So it acts like a excretory structure. Draw the diagram showing the schematic sectional view of human heart. Label the following parts, children. Here you have to draw the heart and label the parts of aorta and pulmonary vein. As you know, children, heart is conical in shape. It is conical in shape. And you have right auricle or atrium, left atrium and left ventricle. So you find like this. And then from the left side, you have to draw the veins, pulmonary. These are called pulmonary veins, children, from the left side. And from the right side, you can draw the aorta. You can draw the aorta, where aorta helps in carrying the blood to all the parts of the body. So like this you have to draw, children. So from the left side you have to draw the pulmonary arteries and veins. From the right side, the blood is pumped to the lungs for purification. After the purified blood from the lungs is pumped to the left side, and from left side it is carried to the aorta. So this is how you have to draw the diagram. They asked you to label the parts of aorta, children. This is called aorta, which is the largest part of the heart. And you have to draw the pulmonary veins here, which receives the pure blood from the lungs to the left side of the heart for carrying it to the aorta and to the other parts of the body. Clear, children? So here you have to write pulmonary veins. You have one more question, children. Name the given structure. Here a structure is given, children. What is its general function? So you can see this structure is spinal cord, children. Mention the function of the parts labeled as A and B. So here A and B parts are labeled. These structures in animals are said to be efficient ways to give quick responses. Why? So the structure is spinal cord, children. So what is its general function here? Mention the function of the parts labeled as A and B. Here A and B functions are labeled. You have to name them. Here you can see here A is carrying the impulse from the receptors. So we call it as sensory neuron, children. What we call this as sensory neuron. So this sensory neuron conducts the impulse of stimulus from receptor to the spinal cord. It takes the impulse from the receptors to the spinal cord. So that is the function of this sensory neuron. So A is called as sensory neuron. What is A called, children? A is a sensory neuron. A is a sensory neuron. So what is the function of this sensory neuron? It conducts the impulse of stimulus from the receptor to the spinal cord. Okay, children. Then what is B? B is nothing but it is called as effector. B is effector. So effectors are nothing but which brings about action. So effectors which brings or shows the sudden visible response. Effectors are nothing but these show sudden visible response. So those are called as effectors. So A is called the sensory neuron, B is called the effectors. And this we call it as what? Reflex arc, children. So what is reflex arc? Reflex arc is the pathway of nerve impulses. Many pathways are involved here. First, the receptors play a very important role in conducting the impulse that is carried by the efferent neurons. Efferent neurons take them to the spinal cord, and then in the spinal cord, associative neurons convert the impulse to electrical impulses or signals and pass them to the efferent neurons, and efferent neurons bring them to the effectors to bring about action. So this pathway of nerve impulse, we call it as what? Reflex arc. And this reflex arc brings about sudden action in response to the stimulus happening in the surroundings. Clear, children? And the next part is these structures in animals are said to be efficient ways to give quick responses why they are asking. So reflex arcs have involved in animals because the thinking process of brain is not fast enough in many animals. In many animals, the thinking process of brain is not fast. Meanwhile, when many animals have very little of the complex neuron network needed for thinking, so it can function in the absence of true thought process and increase the chance of survival. So that is the reason why these structures in animals are said to be efficient way to give quick responses. The plant bearing round yellow colored seed are self-pollinated with the same plant, represent the result obtained with the F2 generation of dihybrid cross with the help of a checkerboard. Mention the varieties of plants obtained in F2 generation. So here you have to remember what are the gametes, children. The gametes are round and yellow, then round and green, then round. Opposite characteristic is what? The wrinkled, children. Round and wrinkled, yellow and green. So wrinkled and yellow, wrinkled and green you have to take. So here also you have to take round and yellow, round and green, wrinkled and yellow, wrinkled and green. Clear, children? Now they are asking you to represent it with the help of checkerboard. So you have to show the checkerboard, children. So like this. Now we have to cross. So what you will get is capital R, capital R, capital Y, capital Y, capital R, capital R, capital Y, small y. Here you have capital R, small r. Both are yellow, children. Then you have round and wrinkle, yellow and green. Here round, yellow, green, round, green, round, wrinkle, yellow, green, round, wrinkle, green, round, wrinkle, yellow, round, wrinkle, yellow, green, wrinkle, yellow you have, wrinkle, yellow, green, and then you have round, wrinkle, yellow, green, round, wrinkle, green, wrinkle, yellow, green, wrinkle and green, children. So like this you have. Now you have to find out, they are asking you mention the varieties of plants obtained in F2 generation. So here you have round and yellow, children. So round and yellow, round and yellow. See capital R and capital Y you have to check, children. Capital R, capital Y 1, capital R, capital Y, capital R, capital Y. Here also you have capital R, capital Y, capital R, capital Y, capital R, capital Y, capital R, capital Y, capital R, capital Y. So you have to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So you have round and yellow. So round and yellow you have 9, children. Then you have to see round and green, round and green. So you have capital R, small y you have to take. Round and green. Round and green. Here you have one. Round and green. Round and green here. Round and green. You have how many, children? 3 you have. So round and green is 3. You have wrinkled and yellow, children. Wrinkled and yellow. Wrinkled and yellow. So in wrinkled and yellow, so you have to take wrinkled is small r, yellow is capital Y. So here you have 1, here you have 1, here you have 2, 1. So you have 3. And then totally recessive character is wrinkle and green. Wrinkle and green. So here small r, small y. So wrinkled and green. Wrinkled and green. So what is the ratio, children? 1. So the ratio is 9:3:3:1. So 9 parts are round and yellow, 3 parts are round and green, 3 parts are wrinkled and 1 part is wrinkled and green. So this is how you have to write the checkerboard and write the ratio also, children. But next question, last question, children. What is evolution? Explain the 3 evidences for evolution, children. So you have to write what is evolution. Evolution is a gradual change of organisms, children. What is evolution? It is the gradual change of life. Gradual change of life from simple form to complex form. Change of life from simple form of life to complex form of life for a longer period of time, children. For a longer period of time. It is not one day or 1 month or 1 year or 10 years process, children. It is gradual change of life from simple form of life to complex form of life for a longer period of time. We call it as what? Evolution, children. So what are the 3 evidences for evolution? We have many evidences, children. The first is homologous evidences or homologous organs evidence. So for this homologous organs evidence, here the organs which have same basic structures but perform different functions. This we call it as homologous organs, children. So homologous organs are what? Structures are same. The structures are same but the function is different. You can take the examples of 4 limbs of man, 4 limbs of dog, 4 limbs of lion, tiger. So in man it is for holding the things, or it is for writing, or it is for capturing the food. But in other terrestrial animals it is for walking. So the structure is the same but the function is different. This we call it as homologous organ. If you see, the next evidence is analogous organs. So what are analogous organs? It is the opposite of homologous, children. Here the organs which have different structure but they perform similar function. So you can take, for example, the wings of butterflies, the wings of bat, the wings of mosquitoes. So if you can see, the structure is different but the function is same. The structure is different but they use it for flying. The function is same. So here you have to write different structures but same function. Different structures with same functions. Different structures but same functions. We call it as what? Analogous organs. You can give the examples of wings of butterflies, wings of birds, wings of, you can say, bat. So the structure is different, children, but the function is same. Then next evidence is fossils. You know, children, what are the fossils? Fossils are nothing but the dead remains of past organism under the rocks or deep earthen layers. The dead remains of past organisms under the rocks. We call it as what? Fossils, children. So this fossil evidences actually helps us to form a link between, this fossil evidence form a link between the species. It forms the link between the species. Second one, they help us to understand the sequence of evolution in the classification of organisms. In the classification of organisms, the sequence of evolution is understood by fossil study. You all understood, children? I hope you have understood the question paper, and you know, children, around 34 marks occurred from bio part in the science subject. So in the next video, we shall learn about some of the questions appeared in science question paper, that is physics. Thank you.